Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our FPL Show. Game week 26 now, I think it is. I'm joined once again by Rod. How you doing, mate?
I am not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm alright, bud. I really screwed myself over with my team selection last week. Kind of messed it up, but we move on. Did you have a good weekend and good Champions League so far?
Mate, yeah. It was a phenomenal weekend in terms of social, in terms of fantasy. Not too great, and I'm sure we'll get onto it very shortly.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'll start with myself. Basically, I thought I saved my team, but I completely forgot. So ended up having Foster in goal. So that's a 6 point swing in the other direction. Ronaldo's going to be my captain. I forgot to save the team, so kind of fucked myself there. But I mean, if I would have done that, it would have been an alright game week. But I'm a bit disappointed with how it turned out because of that. What about yourself, Rod?
It was a bit of a weird one, mate. Obviously, I started Cancelo, didn't play, so Livramento came on for a point, and obviously Villa lost, didn't really do much. Meaning Dean, Watkins, and Ramsey scored almost no points. Salah blanked against Burnley. The only outstanding scorers were Bowen, who almost everyone has. Obviously, Bruno came in very clutch last minute, scoring me a goal, getting all of the bonus, which gave me a little red arrow, not a huge one. Trent, everyone has, and then obviously Sanchez getting eight's not bad, but when the majority of people have De Gea or Ramsdale, it's not great. So 63 overall, red arrow from 35k to 39k. So I need to stop the rot, and hopefully I can do that in game week 26 because I do want to be getting towards that 25k mark,
Yeah,
which is looking out of reach a little bit.
I don't know. I think you still might get there, but you're gonna have to change that Twitter bio again because you're going down ever since you made it. Maybe it's the curse of the Twitter bio. So first off, Rod, I mean it's a big game week coming up now. We have a lot of rearranged fixtures. Liverpool for double game week. What is it time for the triple captain now?
Oh, it's 100% time for the triple captain. If you don't use it, I think you're in a lot of trouble as there are going to be a hell of a lot of people using it. And obviously, it's for me, it's on Salah, but I can see people going for Trent. I like that as a bold move because if Trent does outscore Salah, you're very much up in the ranks. But I think obvious choice is Salah, and I can see people bringing in Son. I like Son as an option. I'll be bringing in him myself. And Liverpool have the best double, but every double's a good double, and bringing in Son never go wrong really. And obviously the Jota injury last night that has spiced things up a little bit as Jota is very highly owned. So I can see people benching Jota, bringing in other players, and that will mix up the ranks. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I was looking at my team a minute ago, and I'm just looking at yours now, and I feel like Trent might be the better option to go with for the triple. I've just got a feeling. I've been watching Liverpool these past couple of games. I don't think they was overly impressive against Burnley, and I really didn't think they was overly impressive last night against Inter Milan. I don't know if they're starting to hit a bit of a dip in form. Obviously, they've only just re-got Salah and Mane back, so we'll have to wait and see. But for me, it's time to do it, but it's a bit of a debatable one who you want to use.
I like yeah. It's Salah, not Salah. Trent has outscored Salah in the last few game weeks, and when Trent hauls, he really does haul, and he usually secures all of the bonus. All he has to do is get an assist and put in a couple good chances, and he's going to come out with a bonus. But what does worry me is I can see Norwich scoring and I can see Leeds scoring. So then that kind of overly relies on Trent to get attacking returns, which he 100% can do. But as we saw yesterday in the Champions League, Salah was pretty absent all game, and then when you need him, he's there. So I wouldn't be surprised if, especially against Leeds in the second fixture, Salah doesn't really do much all game and then comes up with maybe a goal or 2 assists late on. So I think Salah's the obvious choice, but I really do like Trent as a captain choice, and anyone who does triple captain him, then fair play to you. And I like the boldness going against the grain.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there, but for me, Liverpool got both games at home. They're pretty solid at home. The only game I didn't really see Norwich scoring. I think the Norwich game might be quite tight, in fact, just because of how Dean Smith's going to take, set them up. The Leeds game, on the other hand, I could see Liverpool running wild, maybe getting a 3-4-0 victory. In which case, it's probably worth looking at using Salah. Is there anyone else you're looking at a potential for triple captain, or is it only Liverpool?
I think you're not really going to get a better game week than Norwich and Leeds at home.
No.
With a side that scores a lot of goals and they're on form. So for me, it's got to be Liverpool assets. If you were going for someone completely out of the blue from Liverpool, then maybe Van Dijk for his attacking potential. But I think it's Salah or Trent. And for me, I've been on Salah week, and I wouldn't be surprised, to be completely honest, if he plays maybe half an hour against Norwich and 90 against Leeds, because obviously he played 90 minutes last night. So I don't know, he's just still an outstanding captain choice.
Yeah, I think so as well. Any other moves to make this for the upcoming game week, Rod?
So I've been thinking about it all week. I've been looking at my team, I've been looking at Twitter, and I'm going to be looking to ship out Reguilon this week and Bruno Fernandes. Reguilon has annoyed me for weeks now, where he'll either play 13 minutes, or he'll always come on if he doesn't start, and that usually takes it away from your bench, because you might have someone on there who's got a few points, but you won't get him because Reguilon's decided to come on for a few minutes, or he just doesn't seem to consolidate his place, and that's not what you want. So I'm going to be looking to bring in Tierney for Reguilon, who Tierney has, I think he has Wolves and Brentford as a double game week, and he looks very attacking. But obviously I'm going to wait for the press conferences to see if he's fit, etc. But it'd be Tierney for Reguilon and Son for Bruno Fernandes. And yeah, probably obviously Son straight into the lineup for Bruno, and then likely Tierney in for Jota, with Jota on the bench. I've got 0.5 million tied up in Jota, so I don't really want to ship him if his injury isn't too bad. Because obviously I can only sell him for 8 million, and to buy him back, I'll have to buy him back for 8.5, so that's a lot of value. So I'd prefer to have that on the bench until I know more, because he could have played on last night, I think Klopp said, so injury's not as bad as first feared. But I mean, Van Dijk walked off with his injury a couple of years ago, and he was out for the year. So I guess we'll find out more a bit later on, or tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I'm interested in some Arsenal, some Arsenal players, just because of the fixtures they've got, and they've still got quite a few games in hand. I think they're definitely one of the teams in the race now for the top four with what Spurs have done. I'd be interested in, someone like a Emile Smith-Rowe in the midfield, bit of a cheaper option, but, without the striker, I think they're going to probably need someone from that attacking midfield spot to, add some goals to the team.
Yeah, 100%. Arsenal, just like we said in previous episodes, they are just a weird team, and I don't really trust any of them. I do, obviously, if you fancy someone a bit out, not out of the blue, but a differential, Lacazette. But for me, I don't know, bar Ramsdale or maybe a defender, can't really trust any of them.
Yeah, I do know where you're coming from with that. They're a bit of a weird team. Any of the other teams' players you're interested for this upcoming game week? Obviously, Watford do have a double game week. They're playing Villa, and then they got Palace, which I wouldn't say is the easiest. Spurs as well, but I mean, with the run of form they're in, I know you're looking at Son. I am a bit against that move personally. Anyone you're interested in, Rod? Maybe a Weghorst, to be honest. I wouldn't say that's a bad shout, considering they got Brighton and then they've got Spurs.
So yeah, regarding Burnley, we got the Sean Dyche press conference, I think 1:30 today. So as we're doing this episode, he'll be talking. And obviously they've got 2 consecutive doubles. They've got Brighton and Spurs this game week, and then they've got Palace and Leicester next game week.
Yeah.
So I like Cornet as a pick. If people are getting rid of Jota, then I really like Cornet. That frees up a lot of money in the bank, just over two and a bit mil. If people are shipping Watkins, which I don't blame them, I'll be doing that fairly soon.
I told you about that. I'd ship him in real life, to be fair, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think he'll get benched on the weekend, but we'll get onto that. If people are shipping like strikers, Watkins, etc. for Weghorst, I also like that because, I mean, he's the guy who's going to score for them, and if they're going to get out of the relegation places, then Weghorst will be scoring. But I think he is a bit of an injury doubt, so we'll find out soon what the crack is regarding that.
Yes. What about Watford, Rod? Anyone? Maybe a Dennis? I'm not too sure about anyone else. I saw someone online saying if their tweet got so many likes, they was going to triple captain Joshua King, which I found quite amusing. But I'm not sure. It's a double game week in which I'm not. Other than the Liverpool game, I'm not very comfortable with any of the other teams. Maybe a Palace, but I mean the Chelsea game's going to be hard.
So, yeah, I think if you haven't got Dennis already, I wouldn't be bringing him in, but he's very highly owned. Obviously, you just saying that about Triple Captain King. I did like that tweet, and that tweet is on almost 3,000 likes, just on 299 likes, so it looks like he'll be Triple Captain in Josh King.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's I mean, you gotta do it now anyway, but yeah, I mean, I guess moving on now, Rod, from a bit of FPL talk. The Premier League table, man, it's literally, we could have just done our podcast last week and we're in pretty much the same position. United showing that sort of form, which is just I don't even know how to describe it. It's like 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. It's like we had the draw, which was like so miserable, but then to get the win against Brighton, I think was a really big result, but it didn't feel like a win because, I mean, it did feel like a win, but I didn't think we was the better team on the day either. I thought, I don't want to say lucky because we weren't lucky. We got our goals, but I just felt like we still played really poor. I thought Rangnick went back to a system where we were playing 2 holding midfielders again, and it just didn't. It didn't look as good on the eye. The first half, I was like, oh, wow. If this is our first 30 minutes, because normally that's when we're the best, it was shocking. But we ended up getting the win, so I was okay with that. Villa, Rod, pretty poor performance against Newcastle, I think you could say.
It was abysmal. Mind you, I was watching the game on the train. I had 0 sleep, so I missed a lot of it, but I managed to catch up on the stats and watch like the extended highlights, and it was absolutely abysmal, mate. I think I looked at the XG last night, and Newcastle's was 0.53 and ours was 0.46. I think we created 0. We looked ideal. So mind you, I thought Newcastle, they weren't great either. They were okay in the middle, probably controlled the midfield, but mate, it was very disappointing. And I said this to you on the last episode. I was not looking forward to going up there because, mate, they're fighting for their lives. And yeah, we were very, very poor. And this is why we need to bounce back against Watford, another team fighting for their lives. Mind you, we are at home. Anything can happen. But for me, I think Newcastle are pretty much safe now. Like, looking at the table, they've played, they're in the 17th on 21. Norwich are in 18. 1 less game than Norwich, 4 points clear. Newcastle, mate, they did their business, right? They brought in who they needed. Yeah, for me, I think they're pretty much safe now, which I'm not very, very happy about.
Yeah, Newcastle though. I mean, even looking at their fixtures, I think their form coming into it. They're unbeaten now in 5 games. Which is, impressive for a team who were doing so poor this season. I definitely think that the switch to bring in Eddie Howe was the correct one. I mean, I know Big Bruce is now in the Championship with West Brom. I think he's basically done the whole Midlands scene now, Rod. I think he's had like basically every club in the Midlands, Villa, West Brom,
Birmingham.
yeah, Birmingham, man, unreal. But yeah, Newcastle, I really don't mind their fixtures coming up as well, Rod. I think West Ham away isn't an easy game. Obviously, they still fancy themselves for top four, so that'll be an interesting one on Saturday. But Brentford away and then Brighton at home, and then they got intermittent, like, sort of difficult fixtures, like they'll have a game which is winnable against Palace, and then a bit of a harder one going away to Spurs. But I like their chances now, man. I think they're a really solid team. Really impressed with some of the players they've got. I think Trippier's been outstanding for them since he came in. I think Wood's been an absolute tree up top. He's offered nothing. Like I was pretty confident when I was talking about Wood. Like, everyone went on, Premier League proven striker, this and that. I felt like there's so many better options in the Championship they could have got. I think they could have gone after Diaz. What was it, Ben Brereton Diaz from Blackburn? I think they could have gone after Kiefer Moore, who was at Cardiff at the time, ended up moving to Bournemouth. Dominic Solanke, again, they could have probably got from Bournemouth. In my opinion, it's a desperate move, but obviously weakening Burnley might work out in the end. I am impressed with them, though, Rod.
Yeah, just they did the business right in January, and they were always going to be the team that stood out from the bottom three because they had the money, they've got the pull in terms of structure in place, stadium, good attacking manager, so they were always going to do all right. And it was just, the question was if they could get to January and still be in the run of getting out, and they did. And yeah, they bought the right spine, and they're going to be all right. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of players that came in January put to one side when it comes to the summer, especially players like Chris Wood, Dan Burn, players who just basically had to steady the ship. But yeah, Trippier, he's really excited me. He's a brilliant player, and obviously he scored against us, which I wasn't surprised about.
Yeah, he scored like consecutive free kicks in games now, I think. Yeah, I agree with Chris Wood. I'm not too sure about Dan Burn. I thought he was really impressive against you, in all fairness. I thought he put in a really great shift. I find it difficult now to see a team catching Newcastle. I think they're going to probably gather enough points to probably get to somewhere around 35 points at least. Can't see Norwich hitting that. I could see maybe one of these other teams potentially falling down. Everton, despite getting a pretty impressive win out on the weekend, I could see them maybe coming down. Same with Leeds, to be honest. I don't think they're safe just yet, but we'll have to wait and see. It'd be interesting to see what Burnley can do. 3 draws in a row followed by a loss to Liverpool. A bit disappointing with that, I think, but I mean, it wasn't like a game where they were dominated. I thought they put in a good account of themselves, and I think Liverpool just had that little bit too much quality from them. But Ron, in terms of this top 4 race, I mean, a couple of weeks ago I was going, it's going to be Tottenham or Manchester United, in my opinion, just because of Wolves. I said because I feel like West Ham will drop out because of European football. I don't think Arsenal's got a striker who's, they're consistently going to be able to score the goals. It's looking very different now, Rod. It's looking like Spurs are probably... I think Spurs are probably out of it. What do you think?
I'm 100% with you, mate. I look at the table and it doesn't fill me with confidence if I was a Spurs fan. And I think Antonio Conte gave an interview to Italian media, I think it was a couple of days ago, and he said that Spurs have probably a 1% chance of getting it. And he made a few digs at Levi, saying they've shipped 4 players in the January transfer window, and they didn't really replace them. They're trying to bring through youth which aren't there and aren't Premier League quality, so to get wins because the players aren't good enough to get the wins. When obviously they brought in Bentancur, Kusilevsky, but obviously they shipped some big players in Dele Alli, Tanguy and Ndombele. And if you look at the Spurs team on paper, I've said it before, where it's an all right squad. I don't think it's an amazing squad, and it's for me it ain't good enough to be top four. And yeah, his exact words were, "It's not possible to grow with players like that, and not with ready players. You need players that are ready to fill the gaps." And Spurs haven't got that. And for me, looking at the table now, I think United, they're going to take a lot of confidence from that Brighton win. I think it was a dogged win. I did think you were the better side, and you did show a bit of fight. Didn't think you were brilliant at all, but you did what you needed to do against a good Brighton side. And for me, I'm strongly in the boat between it's you and Arsenal.
Ooh.
I think they've got 3 games in hand on you, 4 points behind. I think Arsenal are well in for the running, but for me, Spurs. I mean, even Wolves are above Spurs right now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, for me, Spurs are out of it. They're not good enough, and I wouldn't be surprised if Antonio Conte had a right talking to in the summer. If he did leave in the summer, bold prediction. I think they only offered him an 18-month contract, but we know what Antonio Conte's like and his temperament. And if he doesn't get what he wants, I can imagine he'll be out the door. And we know Levi's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said about what he said. To be fair, I do think I think they got a couple of like really standout players. To be fair, but I mean that Wolves game just wasn't pretty at all. I mean some of the mistakes Lloris was making. Defense it's just too scrappy. I think when you've got players who are in contention for starting roles, and it's like Eric Dyer and that, I think they got a lot of deadwood they need to ship off, and they need to bring through some talent as well as bringing some players through the door. I'd be interested to see, if they could. I think they should have sold Kane in the summer. I felt like the way Villa sold Grealish, I thought it was good business. I thought they brought in players, it was a bit like Moneyball. They didn't have... You're not going to be able to sign a replacement straight up, but they basically went and got three players who could replicate his goals and assists and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting. And I thought Spurs could have done a similar thing. I didn't think they needed... I think Kane hasn't really been playing as a striker anyway. He's been playing more as this, like, false nine. And I think moving Son forward a bit more, looking potentially to maybe even place Son through the middle, bring in another winger or not, but definitely strengthening that midfield, definitely bringing another centre back. For me, disappointing with Spurs. I thought they would have put up a bigger fight, and I don't know if they're truly out of it, considering they've only played 22 games. They've got 3 games in hand on United. They only need to win 2 to be a point behind them, so it's hard to say really. If they win 2 they'll be a point ahead of they will be a point behind us, I think it's disappointing from Spurs. I think they've got some real difficult games coming up as well. I don't really fancy them against City at all. I think Burnley away is a hard game. I think Leeds away is a hard game. When the team's just in shit form, it's like every game you look at, it looks more and more challenging, doesn't it?
I think like form for me, it just shits all over quality. Because I think not Leeds, Leicester when they won. Their team wasn't amazing, but they had that run of form and they just kept going. And like form is so important. And when you've got momentum, everything works. Even if you play bad, you come away with a win because the morale's there, the mentality is there. You've got momentum, and I feel you, especially as a Villa fan, where when it's just not going your way and you've had a few bad results, and then it's 3 bad results. And obviously, we saw it at the start of the season with Dean Smith, where we lost like 5 games in a row, and it just nothing was going to plan, and it can really hurt you. And I think Spurs need to get out of this rut, but you're right, it's going to be difficult against City. I mean, they did beat him at the start of the year, so I guess anything's possible. I mean, Nuno was manager then. They need to get out of this rut, and if they start it against City, then maybe they can build momentum. But yeah, once you're in that hole, it is difficult to get out of it.
Yeah, man. I really like that point you made about Leicester. I don't think they had the best squad. I mean, looking back on it, they did have actually some amazing talent with Vardy, Mahrez, and Kante. But I think what they did have is something that Spurs don't have. I think they had a really good, strong spine. Not the strongest, but they had really good leadership skills on that team as well. Looking at like Wes Morgan. And that midfield of Danny Drinkwater and Kante that year was really superb. You got to look at that Spurs side, and I think they got a real good midfielder in Højbjerg, but I think you need someone next to him to run the show. Defensively, I think they're really poor, and up top, I just think Kane's. I've always thought he's a bit overrated in terms of, I think he's a great goal scorer, don't get me wrong, but, value-wise, I'm not sure if he's worth the money people are talking about. But in this current market, players go for crazy prices, so it's not that crazy, I guess, but they need a real big, overhaul in the team. They need something done. They need a makeover, really, Rod. They need to bring in some new players. Definitely need to get rid of some deadwood. I think it might be time Lloris is probably moved to backup. I think his form, he just doesn't look like the goalkeeper of 5-6 years ago. I think it's a disappointing one for Spurs. But I think if they can keep Conte and you give him the summer and you give him the keys to the house to let him do what he wants, I wouldn't be surprised next year if they were a really strong side. He's probably looking at, third or second place just because of the manager he is. Some of the quality in that side with Son. I think Son's elite, man. I really do. I think he's got such good qualities on the ball, off the ball. I think his work rate's really good as well. And he's a superb finisher. It's just going to be whether or not he can keep hold of certain players and bring in the quality that they need.
I'm with you there, mate. For me, they need a big, big overhaul, and I think you build the squad around Son. He signed a new contract, I think, in the summer. He's going to be here for years. He's an incredible player. I can see I'll probably see Kane going. He's obviously not been brilliant this year, but I still see him going. Yeah, I agree with you in terms of Lloris in that. Was it the Southampton game or the Wolves game? Basically, maybe even in both games, he was all over the place.
Wolves game was really bad, man. He was palming it straight to Jimenez, and he just never looked really strong. And I know I was watching the documentary BT Sport put out the other night. I can't remember what I was waiting for. It might have been boxing or some sort of UFC coverage. But they put on a special called The Number One, and they had some really emotional pieces in there about a young German goalkeeper who ended up taking his life, which was a real sad story when he was number one in Germany. I can't necessarily remember him playing, but I definitely was into football at the time. I just can't remember it. And that was really sad. But I think a lot of the time as well, they were taken away from some goalkeeper errors because they were going how the commentators are too harsh on the goalkeepers. But I think in that situation with Lloris, man, the ball was there to be caught. I don't mind if he palms it away, but when you're palming it back into the danger area, it's you might as well be on the other side. I'm not sure I wouldn't be surprised actually right now if Spurs make a move for Dean Henderson in the summer, just because I think he's a goalkeeper who does have quality. I think he's been poor at times for United, but to be fair, he's never really had that run in the team. And I think he was really good at Southampton, Sheffield United. So I'd be interested to see that one maybe.
Yeah, so obviously Lloris is getting on. He probably needs to be moved on, and they've got some good players in Højbjerg, obviously Son. They brought in. I like Bentancur. They've got some good players, but especially goalkeeping wise, you need your defence to be organised. You need them to be half decent, and then it does make your job easier. But we're looking at that Spurs defence; it's just all over the place, and
it is, man.
they need Dyer back. When he was in that defence, he was very good, and he consolidated.
Really, I think that's the wrong direction. Like, I think it's already been done. We've seen Dyer. We know what he's about.
Conte rates him very highly.
Oh, fuck Conte. It's Groundhog Day at Tottenham, man. It's the same thing over and over again. They keep on losing. They keep putting in abysmal performances, man. I just don't rate him. But for me, I feel like Dyer, you know what he is. You know how high his ceiling is. You know everything about him. And for me, he's not... I think if Spurs want to be considered as a team who are looking to move forward into a title-challenging team, Eric Dyer cannot be anywhere near that starting 11. I don't mind him as a potential backup off the bench, but they got to get a hold of a centre-back for sure. I think another midfielder. I think they need a right wing-back. Maybe a striker or a winger. I think the team needs a lot of work.
As we're speaking, Levi somewhere, he's hiding all of his money, pretending he hasn't got any, because he does not want to hear what we're saying, because we know he'll maybe one or two signings, even then they're going to try and get him on the cheap. So
sorry, Rod, mate, you kind of cut out there for me. It was like a bit of interruption on the signal. What were you saying?
I was basically saying that Daniel Levi isn't the man for me to take him forward in terms of investment, because they need a hell of a lot of it, and I don't think he's going to want to sign 4 or 5 players. That's not like him one bit.
Yeah,
that's in. They can't progress because simply of the investment. Yes, they've got a brilliant manager. Yes, they've got a brilliant stadium, but football is played on grass, on the pitch, and when you haven't got the players out there, you can't progress.
But for me, it's not just about the money he's going to be putting out. I think he can bring in quite a lot of money with the sale of players as well. I think getting rid of Kane, for me, would be a no-brainer. I think if you're looking at what he's really offered to the team this season, I don't think it's been, like, crazy. I really think they could get by without him, to be honest. And I think you've got to look at other players in the squad who... I really like Tanganga, and if you're not really going to give him a shot, is it not worth just signing him on? Because I don't think it's worth having him as a squad player.
I think he's right.
Pardon?
Really, really poor.
Do you?
Yeah, I think because he's a youth player that people are going to obviously rate him English, young, etc. But for me, he's very rash, and I still don't know what his best position is, centre-back, right-back. And I think this is what Conte was on about when he was saying they've got just too many inexperienced players who don't strengthen the squad enough. Like, maybe he would be a good prospect in the future, but you need to nurture him in the right way. And I don't know, I don't rate Tanganga one bit.
I know what you mean. I have seen him have quite a couple of really good performances there, and that's why I I still think there's that quality in there, but maybe I'm wrong. Spurs need to focus on next season now. I mean, they're out of all the cup competitions, right? So, I think, are they in the FA Cup still? I don't think they are.
No. Yeah, I think they are. They beat Brighton, I'm pretty sure, in the FA Cup.
Oh, yes, they are. Mate, just focus all out in the FA Cup now, I would, if I was them. Try and get a trophy. Premier League's probably done. Maybe you can recover the top 4 race, but I don't think you can. Things need to change. I think Conte needs to make a statement by going bold and start dropping players.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate.
Yeah, anyway then, Rod, let's get on to these fixtures now for this game week 26. I think there's quite a few tasty ones, so should be quite interesting. Anyway, we'll start off with the early kickoff on Saturday. West Ham United against Newcastle United. For me, I think this is a really interesting game just because I think West Ham have been in quite decent form. I thought Leicester were probably worthy of the win the other day, but West Ham did well to bring it back, and for me, Newcastle on a great run. I wouldn't be surprised if this one's like a 2-2 draw, to be honest, Rod.
I'm sure we'll be in contact during the game.
Yeah.
I think West Ham the other day, when you've got players in form like Bowen, like we said, form is everything. He's on fire, and brilliant finish, and obviously great assist. Dubious goal from Dawson, but we'll let it ride. I think this has got the ingredients to be an exciting game. I'm probably going to go West Ham, just edging it as they're at home 2-1.
Yeah, I'll stick with my 2-2 prediction. Arsenal against Brentford. I don't know, man. It feels like a while since we've seen Arsenal. I can't even remember that last game, but the Arsenal got this thing about them where I want to go with Brentford just because I'm not very impressed with them, but they always end up getting the win somehow. So I'll go with Arsenal to win 2-1.
I think this kicked off the Premier League season back in August with a 1-0 Brentford win, and we thought, oh, what can Brentford achieve? But they've dropped down quite a bit since then, and Arsenal have picked up some good results. So I'm going to go with a comfortable 2-0 Arsenal.
Okay. What about this Villa Watford game, then, Rod?
Oh mate, we're just in a rut. We're not playing the most brilliant football. We're not getting those results. Like, we should have beat Leeds. We should have beat Newcastle on paper. We didn't. And Watford, mate, they're fighting for their lives, and our record against them is abysmal. I think in the last 5 meetings at Villa Park, we've won one. Konza's out. I'm probably just 1-1.
Ooh, okay. I'll go with a Villa win. I just don't know if Watford have got the quality going forward. I thought that was somewhere where I thought that I was quite confident in Watford picking up goals, but it seems they kind of dried out a little bit. I thought they did create chances in their last game, but didn't really look like doing all too much. I'm going to go with a Villa win, but I think defensively Watford aren't as poor as maybe they've been made out to be. I'll still go with the Villa win. I'll go 2-0 Villa, just because you're at home, I think. Brighton Burnley, this is definitely... I mean, it could be the shittest game of the weekend. We'll have to wait and see. But to be honest, I've actually been quite impressed with Burnley recently. I think they've been putting up a good fight. I really would like to see them battle to try and get out of relegation. I think it'd be amazing if they stayed up this season, but I doubt they will. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I thought Brighton did look good against United. I think a couple of mistakes here and there, and they are on the end of a 2-0 defeat, but could have easily been a 3-1 Brighton sort of win in that game.
What I do quite like about this Saturday is there's 6 games. Fantasy will be popping, but Brighton Burnley, I may have a few players in this if I do decide to get Weghorst in, which I can confirm. I've just checked the press conference news. He's probably going to be okay. He trained today, light training session, but as a professional, Dyche reckons he's going to be okay. Brighton, they are going to be without Lewis Dunk, obviously getting sent off against United.
Yes.
They're just a professional team that I'm just so impressed with them. For me, they've got an average squad, but the way they just go about their business, they play good football, and it's quite exciting to watch. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Brighton win.
Fair enough. I think Palace against Chelsea is a decent game. I think with Palace being at home, I think it gives them an opportunity to take it to Chelsea. Obviously, we haven't seen Chelsea in a while. They've been on FIFA World Club. What was it? World Club Championship. It's the World Champions, basically. Anyway, Chelsea are the World Champions. Some Tin Pot World Champions Club. Anyway, I think Palace will take it to them. I just don't know, man. Chelsea haven't been in the best form of late. God, you're going to have to help me make my mind up, Rod. What are you thinking about the game?
Yeah, obviously they've been in the United Arab Emirates. They won the Club World Cup, so I forgot really how they played football. They have got some great fixtures coming up. Palace away isn't the most easy to start with, but Palace, mate, they've not been doing brilliant recently, to be completely honest.
They need to, mate. They're safe.
Yeah, that's true. Chelsea are maybe a bit tired from the tournament.
Travelling, yeah.
I'm going to go 2-1 Palace.
Yeah,
I feel like I can get.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I feel like Palace, just because of at home, Chelsea coming back to the Premier League, maybe the pace catches them out just after playing some Tin Pot clubs. Yeah, I'm going to go Palace 2-0. Yeah, Liverpool Norwich, Rod, I think this is See, I don't think it will be a blowout, but I think Liverpool win. I'll go 2-0 Liverpool.
Liverpool, Norwich, yeah. I think Norwich obviously improved as of late. So Liverpool, they did play yesterday, so that's only just over 3 days rest.
That's plenty.
Yeah, very, very good game last night, I must say.
I thought they deserved to lose. By the way, I thought they were a much better team. I just felt like they lacked that little bit of quality up the other end on the pitch. I think if they had a better striker than Dzeko, you might have seen him walk away with that one. I thought it wasn't like the Liverpool goals were really anything special as well.
I agree. I thought it was a very good game of football. Inter did impress me, and they probably should have got something from the game, but losing 2-0 at home makes it get any away leg. But
away goals now, though, is it?
There aren't, so they've got to score a minimum of 3.
Yeah, and I was talking to my dad the other night. I was like, man, I think Inter need to try and win this one 2-0. I think it's a real difficult game, even though away goals are gone. It's just like going to Anfield on a European night, man. It's just very difficult.
Exactly. So Liverpool going to be buzzing off that. I'm going 2-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, same. Right, Southampton against Everton. I'm going to go with Southampton, I'm going to go 2-1 Southampton. I just think they're the more consistent side. Obviously, Everton getting their first win in the Prem under Lampard the other week, 3-0 victory against Leeds, I think, was it? And yeah, I thought they looked impressive. I think Dele Alli looked a bit better when he came on. I didn't think he was amazing, but I thought he looked a little bit better. So I think they're on the up, but I think Southampton are just too much of a wild drilled side to lose at home to Everton. So yeah, I'll go 2-0 Southampton.
Yeah, Southampton against Everton, I think on paper it's a very exciting game. Everton have been last 2 games obviously losing, beating Leeds comfortably. Southampton have been quite good recently, to be fair. I thought they were good against you. Obviously they got the win against Spurs before. Yeah, I'm going to go Southampton as they're at home 2-1. But I do quite like this game. I think it's going to be quite an interesting one.
Fair enough, mate. Man City against Spurs. This one's got pub crawl written all over it. I'm going to go with City win, man, just because I just find it hard to even though I want... Oh, man, actually, yeah, I do actually want City to win now. But just because I don't want Spurs getting close to the top 4, but... I just find it hard to give. It's like with United when I keep giving them like bad predictions. It's like when you keep seeing the same thing over and over again. Like, I mean, the thumbnail of this video is Groundhog Day at Tottenham, basically, because it's just the same thing over and over again. It's like these performances where they can put in a semi-decent performance for a bit, but then they just switch off and it's just not good enough. And I feel United are probably really similar. And I see it just going to walk them. I think it might be a 3-1 City win. Yeah,
obviously as a United fan, you're quite right in saying you don't want City to win the league, but you don't want Liverpool to win the league, and Spurs getting close to top 4. So as a United fan, the draw is the best result for you. But on paper, I think City, they are going to be too strong, and I think this is one of those games that you had to show it on TV, but I think it's going to be quite a boring game, as when City involved it tends to be.
Literally every week, right, on this show, it gets to the City game, we go, yeah, this is going to be boring. Every single time.
It's a vintage performance where they're going to win, and it's just not an exciting watch as a neutral. And when I can imagine as a City fan, they're absolutely loving it, and as you would, but as a neutral, it's a very, very boring team to watch. Apologies to the City fans out there. I'm just facts.
He's spitting the truth.
I'm going to go City 3-1.
Yeah, I think 3-1 City is like a really I could just see it already written on the results page. Leeds against United on the Sunday, Rod. I think this is a game for us where we normally do well against Leeds, but I feel like the form we're in it's the sort of form where we could either go out there and batter them, or we could get smacked up a little bit. I'm gonna go 4-1 United. Just I feel like he's gonna go back to that 4-2-3-1, and I think it suits us to hit Leeds on the break.
I quite like this game. I'm quite happy it's on TV. As on last Sunday there were 3 games about that, and a lot of the time Sky do choose the wrong game, but obviously only 2 o'clock game, and this should be a banger. Leeds, mate, I don't even know what to say about them. They're just up and down, but it's going to be an exciting game, and I think this was the return leg was your first game of the season.
Yes, it was. Yes, Dan James scored against Leeds.
That's it. So mad game that was. I'm gonna go. You know what? I think Leeds might beat you. I'm gonna go 2-1.
Yeah.
Ellen Road, difficult place to go.
Yeah, I agree, man. I just think it's like, I'm not sure it's going to be a close game either way. I think it's either going to go one way. Like the result might be quite close in terms of like goals, but I think in terms of performance, I think one team's just going to run through the other. Yeah, I don't blame you for going for the Leeds win. I still think though as well that Leeds should probably get rid of Bielsa. I just feel like bringing a manager of a different system, and I think you could probably get a bit more out of the Leeds players. I think their system's just crazy, man, especially with the players he's got.
You've got to put your hat off to him, and he's done a lot for their club. So for me, he's going to be there as long as he wants to be there, because he's got the fans backing. I mean, he's brought an average squad from the Championship to the Premier League, where he blitzed the Championship, did very well in his first year in the Prem. So he's got some years in him if he wants to be there. So
see, I just don't see him going like, oh, I'm going to be here in 2 years' time. So I would get rid of him and bring in someone who you think is going to be there in 2 years' time, who's got a sense, a style of football which is going to be maintainable in the Premier League, can keep him safe, maybe even push him up into the top 10, because I think their system's just crazy, and obviously it's really fun to watch, don't get me wrong, but if you're if you're a fan of Leeds, I think maybe turning a notch down a little bit, playing a bit more, not necessarily safer, but I think smarter, and I think you might be able to get a bit more out of some of the players, because I think some of the players are really, I don't think they suit the style of play that much. That's how I'll put it anyway.
Rafinha's very likely to be leaving in the summer, and you do look at that squad, and for me, it's hard to see him pushed into the upper echelons of the Premier League with that squad. Yeah. So I think somebody else is doing a phenomenal job.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think he's doing a bad job. I just think, like, in terms of where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, I think you might be better off maybe getting rid of Bielsa now in the summer, letting a new manager take over the reins anyway. Wolves against Leicester, Rod. I think this is a good game just because Leicester are in a bit of poor form, but I thought they looked really decent against West Ham. Wolves always a tough team to score against, so I think it might be a bit of a tight one. I'm probably going to go with 2-1 Leicester. I like Maddison as a fantasy pick for this game, but obviously he doesn't have the double game week, so it's one of those.
I see 2-1 Wolves. Wolves have impressed me this year. I think they've been very solid at the back. I think probably one of the most...
They are. I think they're second best in the league, mate.
Precisely. But going forward, I mean, we talked about it last week. They have struggled a little bit, but they're going to take confidence from their recent... And they're coming up against a Leicester team, which obviously good result against West Ham. Probably should have won it, but yeah, I'm also quite happy this game's on TV. So yeah, 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah, so obviously I just went with the reverse score. Burnley against Spurs, Rod. I fancy Burnley, man. I think Spurs are going to be coming off a potential 3-1 defeat, which might put them down a bit. I just feel like Burnley have got what it takes to win this. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Burnley win.
I'd love a Burnley win here. This just when I see this fixture on paper, just reminds and Sean Dyche came out in the reverse leg that got postponed in his shirt in the snow and did that smile. I'd love a Burnley win here, so I like an underdog. I'm going to go 2-0 Burnley.
Yeah. When people ask me if I like football, I say I like football, but I fucking hate Burnley. Watford against Crystal Palace. What do you think?
I don't really think much about this game, to be honest.
Neither do I.
I'm going to go 1-0.
0-0. There needs to be a 0-0 in here somewhere, so I'll go 0-0 in that game. Liverpool against Leeds. I think 5-0 Liverpool, because they're at home.
Like, when we talk about games that we like, I really like this game on paper. Very, very exciting. I remember last year, it was the first game of the season, and crazy 4-3 games, or like a hat-trick, playing some ridiculous stuff. Yeah, I like this. I'm going to 3-1 Liverpool.
Oh, Arsenal against Wolves, last game of the game week. I feel like this game was only played like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think you're wrong there. I do remember this game.
Yeah, I remember seeing a Wolves fan in like a box and the Arsenal fans around. He's like banging on the window. I was pissing myself at that video. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Wolves win. I think Arsenal won the away game, 1-0 or something like that. But I think I'm gonna go with a Wolves win. Payback. I'm gonna go 2-1 Wolves.
2-1 Wolves.
Yes, I thought because remember the Arsenal goal. It was a Gabriel goal from the corner, and it was so scrappy. It was like, yeah, it was shit.
Oh, I think I remember this game actually.
Yeah,
Was it the absolute fuckery when Martinelli got sent off?
it is. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, this game literally deja vu. Fucking hell.
Groundhog Day.
I'm not indeed, mate. You see, mate, I think if Arsenal win tomorrow, I think they win Thursday. But
they're not playing tomorrow.
Oh, shut up. Well, today's Friday. If they win on Saturday, I'm going to go Arsenal 2-1 win. But I think it's going to be another sending off in this game.
Yeah, okay. I think that's fair enough. Any closing words from you, Rod?
Big up Veghorst and big up.
Go on, big up yourself.
I'll big up myself.
Yeah.
Let's get 3 arrows and let's have a good weekend.
We want to see that 25k incoming, Rod. We need it. We need it to promote the show next year. We were like that FPL show with a top 25k player. You know
I'm sure you keep an eye on my bio, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll be sure to do that. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. As always, please leave a like. Really means a lot to us. Subscribe if you enjoy the content on the channel. And, leave a comment down below if there's anything you want us to discuss or any questions, anything like that. It'd be a joy to have a bit of communication with someone, at least, other than my mother. Anyway, until next time, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.